It's Monday. School starts again, but in some places, because of the new bump in the pandemic, some schools aren't open in person at the moment. So everyone, please take care. Today I posted something on my Facebook page. I even used it as the cover. And it's this image here of a diagram that I made years ago for the members of Monday Night Magic class, okay? And I call it the Sefer Proctologist Astis. I'm a vulgar man, and this is going to be a little vulgar talk too, but it's going to be, might be a little interesting to the Kabbalists among us today. Anyway, in the beginning, deity didn't have an asshole, so it created you. Now that, I'm sure that sounds very funny. Yes, Lon made a joke. But it's kind of a serious joke. I mentioned that today's talk we're going to address several mysteries of the Kabbalah, but the one I want to talk about the most is something that'd be familiar to those of us who are students, if you will, of the wonderful initiatory program of the Golden Dawn. It's sort of a classic literature that really informed Crowley's whole spiritual career. And pretty early on in the Golden Dawn experience, you're faced with two beautiful paintings, and one of them's called Eden Before the Fall and Eden After the Fall. And there's two beautiful drawings, I believe, or paintings by Moynier Mathers, probably executed the art, that illustrates this, and it's got serpents' heads and hydra-headed things, and it's pretty easy to see that the story that it's telling is meant to be illustrative of stuff going on in the classic tree of life diagram, and there's a definite change, cosmic change, that's characterized or is described as a perfect Eden before the fall of man. And you know, it's not this apple eating historical event that really didn't happen. It's something bigger going on. It's like a portrait of a perfect universe, a universe still held in pure potentiality, where everything in as a pattern is existing in pure balance and perfection. And it is probably still existing in that state. It's just we're not perceiving it as such. We perceive it from the point of view as this perfect Eden after the fall. And we try to sort of describe it in Kabbalistic terms as number 10 on the tree of life, the material universe, and kind of space-time as we think at the environment of the world of hard knocks here in our own bodies and our own human lives, seems to be somehow detached from this perfection. We are Eden after the fall, if you will. And so I started to think about this because we're all familiar with the diagram of the tree of life. Let's see if I can just find it. Okay, just a classic tree of life there. And I've got this one. This is from the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. But anyway, there's the 10 Sephirah on a tree of life, as many modern Kabbalists are comfortable with using this diagram. But you notice we've got 3 triads. And the top one is the supernal triad, and it's pointed up. Its point is up, 1, 2, and 3. But you got 2 other triads. 4, 5, and 6 is a triad, and 7, 8, and 9 is a triad, and they're pointed downward. And in between is this area, and much as in school we didn't like to write in our books, right in the middle of the abyss, between the looking glass, or the looking glass, between this supernal triad and its first reflection, down here, is this area called the abyss, and in the abyss is this unique Sephirah, Da'ath, which means knowledge, actually, in Hebrew. And this diagram here of the tree of life seems like it is out of whack. Number 10 doesn't seem to belong. Okay, we've got the singularity, deity itself. Okay, that's this is the big whatever it is. Everything else is inside this big singularity. It's no big mysterious spiritual thing. If we just take our camera and back it up and get a wide enough shot at existence, it's all one big ball of something. That's number 1. There isn't a number 2. No number 2. This is why the first great truth of the great monotheistic religions is God is one. Well, hell yes. If God was 2, that one wouldn't be God. Okay. 2 is actually only just a reflection. It's just a reflection of 1. 2 isn't a thing in itself. 2 is just a reflection of 1. Just like when you go to a mirror, okay, and you look in a mirror, and it appears that there's 2 of you, but it isn't. The one in the mirror isn't you, okay, but you appear to give it life. It moves, it lives in you, okay. That's number 2. But the idea that you're realizing, I sense there's another me in that reflection, but I know that it really isn't me. Well, that's a third condition right there. I am not that, okay? And that creates this third condition. 1, it's reflection, a phony number 2, and a phony number 3 that is just a third condition that is created when you realize that the two isn't the one. That's the supernal triad. Or 1, 2, and 3 is just one thinking about itself. That's all. It's just one thinking about itself. We don't have rocks. We don't have people. We don't have birds. We don't have stars or space or anything else yet. We just got this idea of one becoming self-aware. Okay. Now the idea is that this triad is just a more elaborate expression of one. And the early Christian mystics that were enamored with this Holy Trinity idea had a pretty good Kabbalistic idea going on. And of course, all the great Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, the EAO formula of the Gnostics. 3 is a big number. Okay, it's not as cool as 1, and 1 is not as cool as 0. But we'll talk about that later, or maybe we won't. Anyway, the same impulse that caused 1 to want to reflect itself, okay, was going on in the mind of the supernal triad. And so the same thing, impulse that made 2 reflect from 1, wanted to create a number 2 of a triad. Number 2 triad. And the same mechanism that caused number 3 to form instantly when number 2 was formed caused a 3rd triad. Okay? And this would be 1, 2, 3, and it would look like this: 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I know it looks funny, doesn't it? But that's still perfect. This is still Eden before the fall. It's just one thinking about itself and sort of elaborating on thinking about itself. It's still perfect. It's still in pure potentiality. This is how things really are. And that's why number 9 is such a big, big cosmic number. Number 9 is the only other number that has something profoundly in common with 0. Number 9 is the Chinese and number 9 is just, number 9's the cat's meow of numbers. And it's just absolutely perfect. So this is Eden before the fall. Okay, there it is. Beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everything's fine, but there ain't no you or me. Or at least there ain't no you and me the way we mistakenly think we are or I am. We mistakenly think that we're somehow separate from all of this. That matter, in a sense, is somehow out of this super perfection, that we're somehow lower, that we've fallen. Oh, we're out of heaven. Oh, Jesus. So, in order, here, I guess I'll just hold this up if you don't, I hope you can see it all. Sefer Proctologist Assist, the Lost Lecture of Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford. In the beginning, deity didn't have an asshole, so it created you. In order for 10 to be created, In order 10, this is where we are, okay? That's where we think we are from there. Number 10 at the bottom of the tree of life. In order for that to come about, Eden after the fall, in order for 10 to be created, an abyss needed to be formed between the supernal triad, 1, 2, and 3, and the rest of the tree. Okay, this is the way the tree is looking now. Okay, in order for a 10 to pop out there at the bottom, something had to happen to the rest of the tree. In the vacuum, a false sephira, Da'ath, is formed. The lower triads now appear flipped below the looking glass of the abyss, and the formerly pristine characteristics of the two triads are shattered and degenerated. Their excrement, their shells, Qliphoth, that's the Kabbalistic word for shells, create a cosmic dingleberry that is the 10th Sephira, Malkuth. So what has happened is fingers of the cosmic proctologist reached up to grab number 7, to pull it down through the newly formed asshole of the universe. Triads 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9 will flip and lose their direct contact with the supernal triad. So one reaches up like that and goes, pulls it down like that. In doing so, they will rupture and corrupt their waste, spluttering out the bottom to form number 10. Like that. So that perfect tree of life of 9. A cosmic proctologist reached up, pulled down, flipping down the second and third triad, forming a vacuum inside the abyss and a looking glass that reflected the other two triads, and Da'ath in the center of the abyss and Malkuth, number 10, were formed at the same time. Malkuth created Da'ath, and Da'ath created Malkuth. And that's why we say that when we say that the world has gone to shit in a cosmic, truthful way, that's exactly what happened. Now, is all of this evil? Is all of this bad? Is all of it, are we separated? No, we're not separated. Because Eden before the fall never went anywhere. Consciousness, our perception is what has dropped. And that's why the whole Golden Dawnish initiatory Western traditions initiatory program of voluntary self-induced evolution in consciousness is such an important thing, because it's not like we're traveling back up this tree of life. We're just waking up. We're just waking up at different stages. until we finally do come to this stage of this new number 4, which used to be a number 6, but the new number 4, we eventually get past this, we transcend this knowledge. In other words, we can't think our way out of the Eden after the fall. We can't think our way out. We can't know our way out. We have to do something a little higher to transcend that level of consciousness. When we do, we reconcile all the illusionary opposites. There are none in the supernal triad. And when we do, we're dealing with a tree of life that would more accurately be expressed as Eden before the fall. Confused? That's just one way of looking at it. I'm sure that there are many very knowledgeable Kabbalists that say that is the most vulgar, disgusting theory that I've ever heard. Okay, maybe it is. But as Rabbi Lamed Ben Clifford says, don't worry about it. If you sort of get the big picture of that perfect tree of life of 9, and somehow second 2 triads flipped upside down, 10 is created, vacuum is created in the abyss itself, and we've got the tree of life we work with at the beginning of our initiatory path of return. That's all I have to say this morning. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will. And the sign and word of your degree this morning is that's going to be a GIF. Okay, see you.